What's up, guys? I'm over here at Petersen Museum to check out their awesome hypercar collections and the vault, so stay tuned and let's go. And here is the FXXK Evo, and Ferrari typically holds it, but it's here at Petersen Museum, so if you want to come check it out, definitely do. It's special enough to be a LaFerrari, but you have the LaFerrari that's part of FXX program at Ferrari. That's pretty amazing. And this rear wing reminds me of a Formula One kind of, like, especially that shark fin. Check out the rear diffuser, absolutely aggressive design. It's set up for track, so take a look at that. Wow. And coming over here, we got the Regera Gotham. It's almost like a Batmobile, right? Beautiful. I mean, even that font looks exactly like it would be in Batman movies. We got the interior, all exposed carbon fiber. There's only about 80 of them. How beautiful is that? I love Koenigsegg. It's one of my favorite brands, but here's a car that you guys will be amazed by. And we have the SP1 here. I went to I Am Ted 7's studio. He's a big photographer on Instagram. He had SP2 on display at his anniversary of grand opening. This one is SP1. The distinction between SP2 and SP1 is that SP1 only has one seat. All right, guys, and that's only the beginning. This is at the front of the museum, and there's a lot more to come, so stay tuned. And we have the McLaren P1 all exposed carbon fiber. This is not Manny Koshkin's, but it certainly does kind of look like one of his, right? All exposed carbon. And we have the Elva right over here, one of 149 units. Beautiful. Would you prefer the SP2 or Elva? Personally, I'm a big fan of McLaren, and I like how they designed this McLaren Elva. All right, and we've come over to the hypercar display section. We got the Chiron, Rimac, we got McLaren in there. But I want to show you this car. It's called Hispano Suiza Carmen Bologna. Full electric motors, 1100 horsepower. Now, it's all exposed carbon fiber. The design can be a little bit controversial, but I think it's unique. There's nothing like it out there. Almost kind of reminds me of the new Pagani Utopia. Inside the taillight, you have this little bird. Now, coming back to the Chiron Purse Sport, I'm told the same designer who's designed Purse Sport designed Rimac. Cool fact that I learned about the Bugatti Purse Sport is that he's a big fan of Star Wars. So the rear wing is actually designed after X-Wing fighter jet. And coming back over here, we got the Rimac Nevera. Now, when this first came out, Richard Hammond was a big advocate of this car because of how fast it was. It has 4 electric motors, and it goes from 0 to 60 under 2 seconds. When he was driving this car, unfortunately, he ended up crashing. If you haven't kept up with the automotive news, they partner with Bugatti going forward. So they are designing and working on project together to build and refine Rimac. And we have the finest of Italian automaking, Lamborghini Sion. Now take a look at this. This paint job, look how it transitioned from red to exposed carbon fiber. How cool is that? That is absolutely stunning. I love the taillight and this little spoiler. I don't know how functional it is. I'm sure it is because it's millions of dollars, but everything in this car has got to be functional and purposeful. And coming over here, we have one of 3 Pagani Tricolore. Just take a look at this exposed carbon fiber. Zonda is like my absolute favorite. When I started watching Top Gear in high school, I watched a video segment that Richard Hammond did on Pagani Zonda R. And that's when I fell in love with Pagani Zondas. And this is even more rare because this is Zonda Tricolore. And there's one of 3. And I'm told Lionel Messi has the other 2. How cool is that? Only 3 of them in the world, and one of them is here in Petersen Museum. So come and check this out. And we have the McLaren Senna, all exposed carbon fiber, beautiful spec. You got the Senna seats in there as well. You can see through the cockpit with this little window. If you haven't seen one in person, you gotta just appreciate how massive this rear wing is. And coming over here, it's interesting looking, isn't it? It's because it looks like an Enzo. And I'm told that the same designer who designed Enzo designed this car. A lot of his design language transitioned to this car, Code 57. What an interesting car. And this wheel well, I just noticed, almost kind of reminds me of the design that LaFerrari has. And the steering wheel also reminds you of the steering wheel that you see in Ferrari Enzo, and or at least Ferraris from those days. And you got the gated manual. And right over here, as if it couldn't get any crazier, we have Koenigsegg 1. This is our first mega car to ever be produced. And the power to weight ratio on this car is 1 kilogram per 1 horsepower. Now you can see the 1-to-1, and it's the first car to have full megawatt of power on a production car. And it looks absolutely stunning. Take a look at that. And this is a car that I've never heard of until today. It's called La Rocky Sahara, and this is made for one person only. Collection of His Majesty Mohammed V, King of Morocco. They built this car just for him. What an interesting design. I've never seen anything like it. And this is the Pininfarina Battista, the designer who designed a lot of cars for Ferrari. But you can see a lot of the design language from 488 in here. The rear is really interesting. Absolutely stunning car, beautiful design. And if you see the paint, you can see a little bit of a sparkling effect. Pininfarina, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful car. And then you have the Rimac C1. This is the actual production car, registered, ready for the road and everything. Compared to the concept car, this is actually quite small. Especially in the rear, it's not as lengthy as the concept. And there's no rear window. And coming right over here, we can check out McLaren's racing heritage. Let's go check it out. And we have all the racing cars that was raced in late 1960s to early 1970s. And in the center, we have 2018 McLaren MCL 33 that was driven by none other than Formula One champion Fernando Alonso. When you're here, they display these amazing videos of McLaren race cars on track in action. How cool is that? Make sure to check out this spot when you come to Petersen Museum. We're here at the vault at Petersen Museum. Now, normally you're not allowed to film here, but I've been given special permission today to check out some of the amazing cars on display and show you guys around. I don't know why, guys, but my mic stopped working, so I'm just gonna have to do a voiceover on this one. Just take a look at all these classic cars. I'm told that there are over 200 cars in here. And this is Urban Outlaw 10-year retrospective exhibition by none other than famed Porsche collector Kevin Magnus. And he said these are 10 of his favorite air-cooled, mid-engine, and water-cooled P cars. And you can see the heart and dedication he poured into collecting these Porsches over the years. And maybe someday I'll have Porsche collection and story of my own to tell. And we got some Ferraris over here. We got the 458 Challenge and Ferrari Enzo. How beautiful is that? Obviously Enzo is the founder of Ferrari, so this is named after him. What a beautiful car. Coming right over here, we have the not a replica but a real GT40 that they homologated for the road. You have the Ford GT over here as well. And you can just see the race car in the picture over here. And this is the last DeLorean that was ever rolled off the production, and it's plated in 24 karat gold. How insane is this, guys? This car is 688 HS, all exposed carbon fiber. So this spec is taking the 675 LT and making it even crazier, as if it could even get crazier. Take a look at that. I never even knew that this car existed. I didn't know about this car, but apparently there's only 5 of them in the world, and you have the same seat that you find in the P1. That's absolutely wild. So this, I'm told, is the first Honda ever bought and sold in America. That's a piece of history right there. And we have some of the most legendary Formula One racing cars over here. And starting with this one, it's the McLaren MP410. It's driven by the likes of Nigel Mansell. And this one is the Lotus. So it's the 1987 Lotus Type 99T. Famous driver that drove this is Ayrton Senna. You can see his name over there. And this one is the McLaren MP414, driven by Mika Hakkinen. So you can see his name. Now coming over here, this one's very special, guys. It's 1993 to 1994 Williams FW15. And this would have been the last car that he drove as a Formula One racer. Take a look at his name right over on the side. If you don't know much of Formula One history, or you're not a big Formula One fan, you might not know who Ayrton Senna is. Arguably one of the best drivers to ever come about in Formula One. This was the last season he would ever drive in Formula One, because he actually died during the racing in Williams. So this is the 1999 F399. It's the race car that Michael Schumacher was racing in. He's one of the most decorated racing champion in Formula One, 7-time world champion. So this was one of his cars. And this is the last V8 to be driven in Formula One. It was driven by the likes of Fernando Alonso. And you have the championship winning McLaren Mercedes days race cars. You have this one and this one that was driven by Lewis Hamilton. This was the year when Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button were teammates. And we have the Zenvo TSR-S, one of 10 in the world. And one of the coolest thing is this actually has active rear wing. You can see a little push rod over here that activates around the corner. So if you haven't seen the video, go check it out because it's really cool. And take a look at the interior. Absolutely beautiful. This actually kind of reminds me of a Corvette steering wheel. This is Bugatti EB110, made in somewhere during 1990s. How cool is this? I just absolutely love how this looks. They were always pioneering how cars look, even in the 90s. Take a look at the interior. And then you got the 110 EB right over here. And then you have the V12 engine in the back. And if you take a look at the wheel, it's the BBS wheels on a Bugatti. All right, guys, so that's gonna wrap it up for the vault. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next vlog because we're going to LA Auto Show on a press day to check out some cool releases. So hit that notification bell. And with that said, that's it for today. See you guys on the next vlog.